when you guys were forming the league in 99 after the World Cup.
Yeah, 2001.
Oh,
2001.
it didn't start until 2001.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it started in 2000. All right, so 2001. So in 2000, you're forming the league.
Yep.
Would you say, like, what were your expectations of where we would be now with the league?
I think that's a good question because I think it depends on how you attack it, right?
Mm,
So if you were the league office, they attacked it like, hey, we're on Fifth Avenue in New York City.
yeah.
We're next door neighbors to the NFL.
Mm,
We're spending a shit ton of money on an office because
mm.
we want to belong, right? So
Is that actually where the league's office was?
yeah.
Oh, that's incredible.
Yeah. So, we knew we had something. That's never been the problem, right? The
Yeah.
problem has never been, are there players to sustain a league? Are there players to create a noise in the space of professional sports? Are there enough people out there who want to see this talent? Of course, that's a given.
Yeah.
It's existed. It was, where do we fit in the space and how do we fit in the space? And kind of what we are experiencing now still is, how do we disrupt a culture that has been systematically not for us? And so, I think initially we were just like, hey, we're going to do this,
Yeah.
like, let's go. Like
Yeah.
how we always are,
Yeah.
we just like, hey, we see that thing and we want it and we're going to go and get it. And so I think there was a lot of bumps in the road and a lot of lessons learned and a lot of things that I think the NWSL now has the benefit of knowing that we
Mm,
didn't know. And just like anything, I mean, experience is the best teacher,
for sure.
right? And so again, the talent was always there. We had the best players in the world coming to the US to play in our league. And it was phenomenal. And I'm happy to say that my team was the first ever champions of the
Ooh,
WUSA. So first
nice.
ever women's professional champions in the US were
That
the Bay Area Cyber Rays.
that's a great
Yes.
title
Yeah.
to own.
Yeah.
That's
So
awesome. I'm
yeah.
curious why you think, and I think you kind of touched on it, but why do you think this league the NWSL has survived? Again, for listeners, this is the third iteration of a women's professional league in the US. When the NWSL started, I was like, well, third time's a charm, guys. Like, it's got to be, we got to make this last.
Mm.
But why do you think this league has survived where others have failed?
Well, I'm going to say that the others, I think we could say failed, or we can say just built a foundation, right?
Mm,
So,
that's great. I like that.
yeah, because again, I think the experiences that were had in the two previous leagues were the founding blocks for what the NWSL is. Again, you I look at the NBA, I look at NFL in particular, and I say they weren't successful either in the beginning.
Oh, I know.
And so,
That's what everyone forgets.
yeah, yeah. So it's easy to look at what's happening now and say, boy, this is so much better than what it was. Well, this wouldn't happen today if it was starting all over. So I think we all start from these humble beginnings, and we all have to learn the lessons, and they were hard. They were hard lessons. And again, I think it's to the point of what the U.S. women's national team was and what I think the U.S. women's national team today continues to be, not just for a domestic impact, but a global impact now, is that we have been disruptors of cultural norms for 4+ decades.
You're right.
And so, and some people would say that in a negative way, and others would say that in a completely positive way. We're noisemakers. And we do that because not because we're tooting our own horn, but I think because we see the value in what's available. And in my opinion, and I've said this, I don't know, I can't even count how many times I've said this, and I will say it probably countless more times, which is that women's soccer and women's soccer specifically, but I think women in sports as a whole, are the greatest, deepest richest well of talent, intellect, and future forward thinking that we have. There's nothing that's more untapped and more ready to make a difference than women in sports.
I couldn't agree with you more, and I love that. And I've never heard somebody say it in that way, and I love exactly how you put it. And I absolutely agree. You're coaching girls now, and it's a completely different landscape than when you grew up playing, going down the street, kicking the ball against the wall by yourself. What do you think, or what do you see as the biggest difference in your generation of players and youth players today?
Um, well, I think number one, you just have to, the broad pool of players is greater. So I think, with Title IX, I was born in 1968. So I'm constantly pushing on my players, Title IX, Title IX, Title IX. You need to understand where you come from. You need to understand that this wasn't always possible. So when you come to practice and you're wasting your own time, or maybe the time of your teammates, or you're not seeing the significance of the opportunity, remember when young girls did not have a chance to play. So that's not a kind of like, hey, like running straight lines and being mechanical. It's just like, remember, like this is a precious gift that we get to do to be players. And don't ever forget that. And don't take it for granted. And that's really important. So I think the greater population of young girls also have now resources. So when I was growing up, my dad, who never played soccer, never saw soccer, became my coach, because no one would step up to say, okay, I'll be the coach, or I have some experience. Nobody did. And so I basically learned soccer by the one VHS tape that was in the library, and maybe the 3 soccer books that were in the library. And every Sunday was a program called Soccer Made in Germany. And we would watch that. And so that's how we learned the basics about soccer. And then we became season ticket holders for the San Jose Earthquakes in the mid-70s when I was 8 years old. And so seeing soccer, I think, as a resource now, young girls can not only go on their phone, not only go to their computer, not only find a high school girls soccer game, a college girls women's soccer game, or a professional women's soccer game, but a national team game. They have so many more resources that exist than ever before. Now, the fallacy about that, Kelley, is that that's going to make you better. The only thing that's going to make each one of these kids better is their desire and their willingness to play.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
to fall down flat on their damn faces and say it's okay.
Yeah.
Because you could, as the old saying goes, you probably never heard this because you're too young. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. Yeah.
I'm not too old. I'm not too young. I am old.
Yeah. So I think resources, I think the population, the pool of players is greater. The opportunities with a national team now, when I was growing up, it was one team or no team. These are all wonderful opportunities, but they're all also they're also difficult, right, to navigate, because again, the naivete that I came to soccer with was, I love playing. I'm going to go down I don't have anyone to play with because nobody's as into it as I am. So I'm going down to the school and I'm going to kick the ball against the wall because that was my outlet. That was my only way of doing it. My mom didn't want me to kick the ball against the garage door, so I had to go down to the school. But now there's just, it's a professional trainer and a professional coach, and these are great things. Listen, I shouldn't bite the hand that feeds me, right? But it's a tricky situation, because I know that the conversation now is, how do we get more young people involved who don't have resources? They don't have the luxury dollars that are needed to play sports like soccer in our country. So, that's the good and the bad, right? There are opportunities, but there aren't equal opportunities. There's talent everywhere, but opportunity is not equal. So we need to somehow find a way to balance those scales so that we can have an even greater population of people that are enjoying the game, whether for fans, as a coach, as a player, and so that we can continue to grow the NWSL and every other soccer outlet possible.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. I think equal opportunity is huge. And I think the next biggest hurdle as an entirety of soccer in this country specifically that we need to take a step over. And then I think what you said, access to it doesn't mean success. You can see all the people doing the skills on Instagram, you can go watch all the games, but if you're not willing to work and put in the time, then you're never going to be successful. It's not just going to come, which I think, again, I completely agree with.